Good morning, everyone. Hello, humans, and welcome to the Cartridge and Disc Podcast. All right, let's catch up with the Amico here. There's a few things going on. I just touched down in the U.S. I'm getting acclimated here. The jet lag is real. And first of all, let me say thank you to all the new subscribers. I really want to say thank you for watching my videos. And today we're going to talk about the INTELLIVISION Amico and what has been going on. You know, I made a small article, regarding, let's start with the Boston event here. And let me address that first. And let me say this. I think this is the very first time. Oh, man, and I'm sniffing my coffee right now. This is the very first time that I actually felt sorry for one Thomas Tallarico. All right, let me tell you this. There isn't any of the Tallarico fans that showed up there that don't remind him, right, of his biggest failure in business, right? Even though, and I don't know these about anybody, right? I don't know these people personally, so I can't criticize anybody personally, right? It's a different endeavor to criticize a business than to criticize individuals. I can't criticize individuals because I don't know them. I don't know the reasons they went. I don't know, right? I can just judge the situation by what was put out there. But in this case, right, this was one case where the fans of Thomas Tallarico that went to go see him were actually doing him a favor, right? He needed validation because he's the one that's been getting crucified, publicly because of his failure on the Amico, right? And that man's never going to be the same, right? In the industry that I can tell you he loves, right? From what I can see, right? Has he been the greatest at what he does in business? No, absolutely not. Not from what I can tell, right? But the one thing I do can tell you with a degree of certainty is that he loves video games. He's a very good video game player, especially retro games, right? And it's hard for any individual to be ostracized in the community that they want to thrive in. And one Thomas Tallarico is never, ever going to be able to thrive in the video game community, especially in the retro video game community, right? And the only validation he's going to get are from these fans that he still has, and these people that still support him. And he's doing the only thing he can do. A lot of people ask me, why is he still doing video games live? It's very easy, guys. Because he has to. Because he has to. I can just tell you what I see, right? And I'm going to tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. I know many people out there want to hear that this guy is a, 100% scammer, that he is, some sort of mastermind, evil mastermind that planned it all out. And let me tell you this, guys. I don't see any evidence of that, because this is not what you want to be doing. You wouldn't want to be doing these jobs, facing this type of public scrutiny, right? And all this drama if you were able to run an efficient scam, right? And let me just put it to you this way in terms that you can understand. If he did the scam right, if he did the scam 100% right, there's a couple of things that wouldn't happen. Number one, you wouldn't have lost $1 million. The minute he signed a contract to produce units, okay, even though the units weren't not what people expected or the best video game out there, that tells me that something was intended to be produced. And that's not only my opinion, right? That's an opinion, for example, of 2 or more industry experts that I've asked. And when I say industry expert, I'm talking about people who work for major video game companies that were my neighbors, right? That's who I asked, one of them being a lawyer, right? So I'm telling you expert opinions that were relayed to me. These were not my opinions. I built my opinions based on experts, right? So the minute they did that, they told you we're intended to produce something. And they lost at it. They lost $1 million at it, right? If he had done the scam correctly, this man should have pocketed at least $3 million in the position he was in, right? And if he pocketed $3 million, and if he was putting those dollars to work in an efficient manner, right? Somebody who would run a great scam, for example, you would have $3 million out there earning about 10%. That's 300 grand. If you're making 300 grand, would you want to work, right? Or would you be out there enjoying life, right? Is he out there living his best life? Probably, but he's doing it off this money that he's making from working these concerts. You have to remember, at his peak, right, by the public available information out there, this man was making about $800,000. So, you know, take away taxes, you're still making, you know, pretty close to $500,000, right? And if you set it up right, you would be paying even less taxes if you had a corporation or what have you. So he's working because he has to, not because he wants to. He's in court right now because he has to, not because he wants to. Do you think this guy wants idiots like me talking about his legal woes? I think Friday, tomorrow, would be another court date. You know, just more material for me to digest and talk about. I'm here chomping at the bit, you know, waiting for this information. If in a perfect world, if you ran a great scam, you wouldn't be going through these things. This shit is embarrassing, guys. This stuff is humiliating. You wouldn't do this if you ran the perfect scam. What I see is incompetence. I see somebody that wasn't prepared for the job he had, and he believed is what he was saying, right? That's why a lot of people, you know, invested and fell for it, because this guy truly believed he could do it, even though he couldn't do it, right? It would be the akin to somebody his height wanting to play in the NBA. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible, but it's very improbable. It's like 99.99% improbable if you're Tommy Tallarico's height that you can reach the NBA. But this is akin to what he was trying to do, because how many successful video game consoles have there been? Especially independent ones, right? But he believed he can do it. So, you know, at this point, all I can do is feel sorry for the guy. And, you know, as far as, you know, judging the reasons why people still are attached to him, you know, they feel friendship, you know, from what I can tell, right? And I don't know these people personally. They could all be, you know, just faking it. What do I know? I don't care. That's not what really interests me. I can tell you that I know a couple of people who do feel, right, genuinely that's his friend, you know, and what do I know? You know, I have friends that, you know, have done some pretty, according to society, not some great things. And we grew up together in the neighborhood, and all the time I knew them, they were great people, right? I have a friend who defended me through thick and thin. That guy's doing time right now as we speak, as I'm recording this. My boy's, you know, doing time, you know, and I'm sending him care packages from time to time. But he is my friend, right? Does society thinks he's a great friend? Probably not, but they don't know him like I know him, right? So it's very hard for me to sit here and judge other people's relationships when I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I can tell you at least two people that I know think, you know, that he is their friend, right? And that's their own personal relationship, and I'm not going to speak on that because clearly I wouldn't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I can tell you things that I do know what I'm talking about. And the other issue that came up this week was about, and I'm speaking generalities here because I can't talk to any individual, as you know. I'm bonded by social media clauses, but I'll tell you in general. You know, what do I feel about people criticizing other people's kids? You know, I'm not for that. Of course not. You know, if somebody makes a private video, okay, and here's a big caveat. Here's the big difference. If I make a private video showing my kids and people criticizing, and I'm sensitive, number one, I learned my lesson. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't put my kids out there, number one. In this age of social media, it's not a good idea. If in the amigo sphere, if you're talking about the amigo, why the hell would you put your kids out there knowing how toxic this whole thing has become? You know, you wouldn't do it, right? It's not a smart idea. But if you are the person putting this crap out there, you know, as far as, you know, putting your kids in promotional videos, that's very different, right? If you're putting your kids as an agent of the company, right, and you're using your kids to advertise a product, it becomes absolutely fair use for people to criticize that product in those commercials. You put yourself in that situation. If you want to censor people after that, after you putting yourself in that situation, in general, right, it doesn't matter what the product is, that would make you hypocritical, because you're using your family to promote a product in a public setting, in a commercial setting. You can't sit there and then try to censor people or admonish them not to criticize your videos, right? And especially if you do it in this community, I mean, that's just a stupid idea. If you do it advertising the Amico, it's just a very stupid idea. Now, I don't see how you could produce something like this and not expect people to use promotional videos. I mean, it's just moronic for me, right? And just let that be a lesson to you guys. I mean, one thing is privately you're sharing videos of your family, and people, you know, say they criticize you or in a certain way and you don't like it and you want to admonish them for that. That's one thing. If you're making promotional videos for a company, you don't really have a leg to stand on, right? Nobody's going to criticize anybody for making, I don't know, parody commercials on McDonald's, right? Or Toys R Us or whatever the hell. These are commercials that you're talking about. Could the jokes be in bad taste? Absolutely. I don't know, guys. I haven't seen any stuff on the internet. I don't have time. I barely have time to make these things, but I'm just giving you in context of what I'm hearing, right? So, I mean, that's just the layman's explanations, right? You can go out there and talk to experts in patent law or commercial law or what have you, and they'll probably give you somewhere around the same idea. One thing is your own private videos, somebody getting them and criticizing you, and a very different thing is you making commercials for a company to promote products and people criticizing that. So I think that line should be pretty clear to anybody. You know, and last but not least, let's touch on this Amico home. Amico home. And people are talking about, hey, if I own these physical products, which I bought 4 because, you know, I'm a degenerate game hoarder, you know, sold 2 of them. I still have 2. Should you expect anything from that? No, you should not, right? You should absolutely not. And because that part of the company, they're already telling you it's dead, right? They're going to kill off this LLC that produced this material. So you should expect nothing, absolutely nothing of worth from these trinkets, from these toys, from these postcards, from whatever the heck you want to call them. You should expect absolutely nothing, right? And any company that wants to be profitable should give you nothing of tangible value, whether it's a skin, whether it's whatever. No company is going to produce something costing them labor for $0, right? They can do it in a manner where they're charging you somewhere else for it, right, and telling you it's free, but they're not going to do it for free. That's insane and idiotic. What could happen with the Amico home? Yes, what they could do is give you early access to things, right? I think it's pretty hard to do it with these games because they've been sold, resold. You don't know who has them, who has the codes. Who the hell knows? Those codes belong to a different company of what Amico home is going to be. They can give you early access and claim that is worth $100, right? So if I really wanted it to to do it in a way where people are perceiving, or I can show that I'm showing some sort of value, I can say this: look, Amico Home's early access package is $100, right? So this means you get to play the games early a week ahead. It's $100 lifetime membership. You get early access, or you could do it a yearly membership. For those of you who have a pre-order, it's going to be free. There's your $100, and that's just a story that I just made up. Right, trying to get rid of those $100 so people don't ask me for them again, because in the future, if you ask me for the $100, I say, hey, I gave you early access to the Amico home products, You know, you got early access to shovelware shit. What do you want? That's how you clean up those $100. It would be harder to do with the games. But you shouldn't expect anything from anything that Tallarico was ahead of, right? They need to bankrupt that in order to make money making forwards. Or going forwards, I'm sorry. Well, guys, that was my summary, my quick summary of the Amico for you. The week in Amico, if you will. I'm really waiting for these court papers so I can talk about that. I hope I was able to give you my perspective, right? Some information on this stuff. You know, I like to talk to, you know, at this point in the Amico story, I want to talk about things after the dust settles, right? Because when things happen right now, people are so starved for content that the first thing they do is go straight for the drama, right? And that's not something I have the time to engage in, sincerely. Nor do I have the time to go look at everybody's video and say, what did this person's perspective is? What did he say? I don't have time for that. You know, I can get a summary of the story and, you know, tell you what my perspective is. I can read the legal documents really quick, you know, some court documents, and infer what I think business-wise what might be happening. And hopefully that's what I'm able to do here in the coming months. I think the Amico home story is going to be interesting for sure, and how they navigate those refunds, how they navigate people who had previous games, because that really is going to be a black eye for Phil Adam, right? At some point, he's got to tell people, hey, listen, those games, you idiots, those weren't part of me. This is me now. I can only talk about Amico Home. This is my project. Whatever Tallarico did, that's on him. Go talk to him about that stuff. The same thing they're doing with this furniture company, right? Hey, Tallarico, you signed for that stuff, buddy. You got to take care.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and I earned your subscription. Make sure to hit that like button. And if you'd like to, please subscribe.